to create digital channels of communication for rural women, the microfinance group lending customers of Annapurna. And while developing the channel through the journey, we realized the importance of these channels being understandable, user-friendly, and relevant to the audience that we are talking about. More on that later, but I would like to start by thanking and welcoming my colleague Azalia from Swiss Capacity Building Fund. They've been a great support through the project. I'd request her to share her thoughts and provide the welcome note.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Deb. And thanks to Action for organizing the webinar. And thank you also to all of the speakers and the participants for joining us today. So as Deb said, I'm Azalia Karish, and I work on learning and insights at the Swiss Capacity Building Facility. So SCBF is a membership platform that brings together actors from the private and the public sector to provide capital to drive financial inclusion for low-income households. And specifically, we focus on smallholder farmers, micro and small and medium-sized enterprises, and women. And for just over about 10 years, we've funded over 200 projects in 50 countries around the world, providing innovative financial services to 4.9 million clients. So we specifically work with financial service providers, microfinance institutions, but also with high-impact enterprises, fintechs, insurtechs, different types of actors working in the financial inclusion space increasingly. It's becoming more and more diverse, and we support them with capital and with resources to test new concepts, create and scale financial solutions, develop business cases, and expand financial education and capabilities for low-income populations. And so specifically under the umbrella of financial inclusion, we focus on agriculture, health, housing, and inclusive financial enablers. And so as Deb mentioned, we've partnered with Action and Annapurna Finance to provide support developing digital channels, specifically for the rural women clients that they're reaching out. And one of our goals in supporting partners like Annapurna and other financial service providers is to really learn from their successes and their challenges that they face in implementing different solutions, and also in tailoring their products and services to the specific needs of different client segments. The learnings, from the projects that we're supporting are really key and important for, I think, actors like SCBF, who are supporting a large range of actors, but also for the financial inclusion sector at large, when we think about scaling financial services or replicating in different countries. The lessons that we can learn from, on the ground experiences are extremely important. And so today we're looking at Annapurna Finance in India and Sajida's microfinance program in Bangladesh. And of course, the panelists will go into much more detail and introduce themselves. And we've specifically going to be looking at, how you develop and implement digital solutions that are tailored to your customers' needs, and specifically today focusing on rural women. And obviously, as we know in the context that many microfinance institutions work, there's a lot of contextual challenges and operational challenges. So in India and Bangladesh, we're talking about numerous languages, digital literacy, trust issues. On the operational side, you have to build in new processes, train staff, make them champions of the innovations that you're implementing. And so I think with that being said, we're going to have a very engaging discussion today, and I hope that we can all take away some learnings that we can apply to our work. And I'll turn it over to the panelists to introduce yourselves. Thank you.
Thanks, Azalia. And as you said, today will be about learning and sharing our experience. And as I promised, we have a very eminent panel. I'd start by welcoming Sarder Akhter Ahmed. He's Ahmed from Sajida Microfinance. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Sajida Microfinance. Would you like to introduce yourself, Akhter bhai?
Yeah, thank Azalia and Debut. Thank you very much. I'm Akhter. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. I look after the microfinance business of Sajida Foundation. Uh, we are a philanthropic organization. We have both our NGO arm and also have a microfinance arm. We are on the top 10 microfinance company in the country. We have around 740 microfinance licensed company in Bangladesh under Microcredit Regulatory Authority, which is our regulatory authority. It's around 0.6 million customers we have, and around 0.5 million borrowers. And 93% of these borrowers are female. They live in all walks of life, especially rural. So I think we'll be talking how can we basket them and prepare for the next era that is knocking at the door, or some countries have already emerged into that. In short, that's what I do. Thank you, Radu.
Thank you, Akhtar bhai, and it'll be really interesting to hear your perspective and your experience, because I know Sajida has also been working on introducing digital channels. Next, I'd like to call upon Ashish from Annapurna Finance. Hi, Ashish.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much, and thanks, Ajilia. So I head product department as well as technology innovation hub department, which is basically to bring in new technology in Annapurna Finance. Annapurna Finance has its genesis almost 33 years back when we started as a developmental institution called People Forum, and then 14 years back, Annapurna Finance. Initially, it was Annapurna Microfinance, and during this journey, we also realized that we need to expand not only in microfinance, but also into MSME lending. So 5 years back, we changed our name from Annapurna Microfinance to Annapurna Finance. Currently, we are the top 10. We are amongst the top 10 NBFC MFI across the country. We are spread across more than 22 states, serving more than 28 lakhs borrowers across 1,200 branches, which includes both the microfinance as well as the MSME branches. I am really thankful to Action and SCBF team. So Annapurna, as our vision also, we wanted a lot of these initiatives. If there is something coming in on digital side, so Annapurna would be the first to try and experiment on that. So we were doing a lot of activities, but I think once this project came in, so that has given a direction where we should go, which all project we should focus, what should be the timeline, what would be the numbers we would be targeting. So I think great work had been done by SCVF and Action team to bring all the projects, all the digital projects, customer engagement project into one umbrella and giving us a direction and target. So thankful to that. I think that has actually laid the foundation for the future journey that we are enhancing, and really happy to be a part of this discussion and share our experience and learnings for last 1.5 years in this project and how we are looking forward to scale it up.
Thank you so much, Ashish. And I think in two separate countries, but Sajida Microfinance and Annapurna are similar in a lot of ways as well. The point that you made about trying to adapt or being pioneers in adapting technology, I think stands true for both the organizations, while dealing with customers who generally are perceived to be digitally not that mature. I think both the institutions have tried their best to see how technology can be made more accessible to this customer base. We also have Dr. Saibal Paul, who represents Sadhan, slightly different as a function as compared to the two organizations we just spoke about. Hi, Dr. Saibal, and why don't you tell us what Sadhan does and about yourself? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David, for inviting me as a speaker. Sadhan, I represent Sadhan, and I am the deputy director over there. I look after the industry building side, where I look after the policy side, then your industry building like capacity building, then studies, knowledge building, everything. And Sarder constitutionally is an association. So we do have around 200 members, more than 220 members, including banks, not-for-profit agencies, for-profit agencies, support-giving agencies, even Axiom is also our member. So all these people, we believe that if you want to really have this financial inclusion, you have to work together. So there is no other way. That only one segment cannot do sufficient to reach to this unreached population. So Southern being an association, we are also a subset of a regulatory body, Reserve Bank of India. We are designated self-regulatory organization. So self-regulatory organization is your intermediary agency between your regulator and your retail level microfinance institutions. So we monitor those institutions and we report to Reserve Bank of India. So we are also a standard arm of this Ministry of Rural Development by virtue of a national support organization for NRLM. So this is a kind of constitution. So we are association with having different kind of members. Then we are also part of a regulatory body. Then we are also part of like your like government body. So this is a constitution, and we work in three segments. Very like straightforward three segments. One is your industry building side, where we deal with the policy, with capacity building, with knowledge building, taking the industry to the next level. Second thing is your SRO, self-regulatory organization, where we monitor the sector and we report to Reserve Bank of India. There is third segment where we do a lot of product development. Over the period of 25 years, so Sarder is a 25 years young profession, young institution. So we could understand that this only vanilla microfinance product may not be working in long term. We need different products for agriculture. We need different product for enterprise. We need different product for your water and sanitation. So we do, there is another SEO department who do this one. So this is your overall structure of Sardan. And Sardan is one of the, this say SRO thing is unique in India. So nowhere in the world where you do have this intermediary institution between your regulatory body and your retail level body. By virtue of members reaching, so what we are seeing that we are around reaching to around like 1,392 1,392 lakh clients across country, and we are having portfolio of around 400,000 crore INR. So it's a big thing, like but here also we are seeing that unreached geographies are many. So we are trying to mend all those things. And if you have idea about this Indian geography, you will see that we do have plain lands, we do have hills, we do have oceans, everything. So there are many untractable geography. It is really tough to reach there. Possibly what we are seeing that technology can help us to reach in those geographies. So it is one of the areas we are also looking forward for. However, if I move the data, till now only 15%, 15% of the overall portfolio is getting retained by or through your technology. So in this technology also we have segment. One is they are repaying by themselves. Another one is assisted model. So we do have this agency model called business correspondent model. So there are these kiosks. So the people are going there along with, in most of the cases, along with the loan officer, and they are depositing your repayment. So this is also happening. So both of the things are happening. But there's over the period of time, one of the green signal is the age of the this your microfinance client is also reducing. So they are decreasing this one, the age code. And the older generation is getting phased out, the new generation is coming. So they are more tech savvy. So possibly they will take up this tech-based repayment. The second thing is possibly, that in every family, they do have this mobile phone. So uh, the women may be the client, but they are also taking loan for the household activities, not only for activities. So possibly the young kids of that family or the husband, they will repay. So this is another thinking. But overall, what we are looking forward from the industry body is like, that adoption of the technology to make the life little bit easier. Having said so, one caution is that technology will also, there is a chance, there is a probability that technology may also reduce the connect with the people. So in that case, microfinance will have a problem because in India, microfinance is non-collateral loan. So all the risk is on the book of the microfinance institution. So good things we are looking forward for with a little bit note of caution. I will look
Perfect.
extremely happy to look at this, your model. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Perfect. And with your vantage point, looking at different organization, this unique position, which is between the regulator and the institution, I think you'll have a lot to contribute to this discussion. So with that, I think we're probably a couple of minutes behind time, but we hope to make up. I'll go straight to the discussion, and maybe I'll start with you, Ashish, because of the fact that we've worked together to create these digital channels, and I know you have a lot to share. But just to kind of uh, talk about what were the main considerations, what was your motivation for designing the digital channel, and what should institutions typically take care of? I know it's a broad question when they are looking at a digital channel, especially for customers who are not very used to digital channels and products. What should institutions take care of?
So, Dev, I would rather answer this in a different way. First is you need to understand what are the problems right now, and then you identify what channels or what kind of technology you bring in. So, currently the smartphone penetration is not something which is very encouraging for the microfinance segment. And surprisingly, we also did a survey recently. We surveyed around 1,400 customers who do digital payment. But having said that, when we asked them in terms of owning a smartphone, we found that 70% of the smartphone are at the household level, not at an individual level.
Mm-hmm.
So although the smartphone penetration is increasing nowadays, and post-COVID, I think it has increased significantly. Microfinance, there are a lot of microfinance who are giving mobile phone as a consumer durable product also, which is again increasing the penetration. But still there are mobile phone availability at a household level. So even for a digital payment also, they have to dependent on their immediate family members, which are maybe their husband or their children. They have to depend on them for digital payment. When we also inquired them about whether they would prefer doing digital payment, since they are doing digital payment to Annapurna, and surprisingly, we found customers who said that we still would love to go back to our cash mode of transaction. Reason being, if they receive amount in cash for digital payment, they have to go to a kiosk or a bank to deposit the money.
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, what we also understood is on the digital adoption, there has to be a local touch in terms of understanding. So communication has to be in vernacular language. Third, another challenge which we have understood in our overall journey is that the adoption of digital will depend on ease of use. Because again, we need to understand they are new to this technology as a smartphone, and then to some of the application or some of the communication channel. So on a high level, these were the problems that we identified. And one of the very unique product that we developed was just-in-time loan, wherein it is a credit line given to the customer, an emergency credit line. And whenever the customer wants on their fingertips, they can send a message or a missed call.
Right.
So there is no requirement of a smartphone here. So the beauty about this app, this loan was that they can use their own feature phone and they have to just send an SMS. So if they need 5,000, they have to just type 5000 and send it to a registered number. The challenge that we have seen is when we check the backlog of all these SMS that we receive, so they have typed like rupees 5,000, I 5,000 pay kar dijiye. So they have not used the exact word which we have configured in our system. So we only 500 is what had been configured. So if they type something else, if they put rupees 5,000, even the system cannot accept. So the challenge and the way we need to enhance our digital adoption is one, we have to make it very simple. So maybe like we are also targeting, can it be instead of typing 5,000, can they say 5,000 and the bot recognizes it? So how can we make the digital adoption easier for the customer in less number of click or without typing anything? Because again, the typing for that segment is a challenge. Importantly, we would also like to emphasize on the security part. When we are going digital, the way frauds are increasing, the security part is also very critical. So keeping those things into mind, we have to design digital channel like sending a link to a customer to pay the loan might not be a right thing because there might be some fraudster who might misuse it. So we have to be very watchful in terms of how we should encourage our digital adoption, keeping into mind that vernacular language, ease of interface should be easy for the customer, and more importantly, it has to be secure.
Got it. So that's, I think, a great insight. I especially liked your part on, how templated messages might not work for this segment because we might have an expectation of them typing in keywords and might not be as simple. And maybe we'll talk about NLP and how that can help address the challenge later in the call. But I'll just move to Akhtar Bhai. And when Ashish was talking about smartphone penetration, what came to my mind is that it's a similar situation in Bangladesh as well, isn't it? Shared devices, which means lesser security. But what's your perspective on that same question? What is the need for digital channels, and what are the sort of things that the institution should uh, keep in mind while designing such channels?
Um, Thanks, Devdut. Our challenges are similar to Annapurna and probably a little worse than what Ashish Bhai said. Uh, our penetration is 40%. I also ran a call center survey and found out that only 40% of my surveyed customer have a smartphone. And out of that, as my major segment of my customers are female, and are they works in all walks of life, meaning a remittance earner's wife, housewife, or a maid, or a support staff, or in many trade, or some of them work in agricultural paddy field also. They do not own a phone. It's the household phone, and in most of the cases, it is a feature phone, and there is a reason behind it because smartphone. They cannot trust because of the auto call things. It's how the device behaves with them is very important. You need to understand, number one. Number two is many of them are illiterate, but they're numerically literate, meaning they can dial number. But if you ask them write a word, they probably will not be able to. Even if you ask them to read an SMS, they will not be. There is a recent survey that has been published a few days back that in 17 of our districts, the survey took place, and 25% of the people are completely unable to read and write. So we basically work with these people. These are key microfinance customers. Apart from, I have an enterprise segment also. So while you are embarking into technology, you basically need to understand whom you are working with and then group it. But then group it again, because if in first grouping you may find that you have come up with 50 groups, but that's not manageable. So you need to narrow down of in such a pattern that you can manage. So one or two or three maybe initially, because it has investment also. So we need to in digitization we need to keep all these in mind. Number three, how you are going to let them adapt. uh, the words that we are saying here is the words we are very much associated with, but these words are not at all understandable to them. So it's better not to tell them that I'm going to digitize it. It's you need to present it in such a manner that they will understand that, okay, if I do this, then this will happen. It need to be translated in that way,
Right.
and it should start at home. You know, meaning you need to educate your field force first. So, like we introduced a field force management app for 4 years back, and it took us time to let our field force get used to this. So now we can translate that to our customer, and we may not hurry so much. We have to be very patient, and slowly and gradually we need to penetrate. At times market do not remains ready, so we have to wait when the market also adapt this, but we should not lose hope. I would quickly touch on the experiment that we did with natural language processing call center. I would say that it's a super learning for us. Still in learning stage, we're scaling it up. Uh, First of all, it's a large language model. LLP is being adapted here. NLP also in the first initial as a backbone. This is a service, software as a service. We have taken it from a developer, which is very commonly known as Hisham. Uh, they have patents in many parts of the world, and these can understand dialects of many different districts of our country. Number one, the most important aspect is it respond in your understandable voice. So I do not have the ability to read or write, but I understand if someone speaks in my language, not exactly in the dialect I'm speaking, but say if for India, if you receive a message in Hindi, probably they will understand, because movies and other spaces are there, so they see and they understand words. Uh, and so as we speak commonly Bengali, they understand the Bengali part, uh, and these and also it has broken the time barrier, because for a working maid, uh, many of the house owners do not let them use the phone unless it is a dire emergency. Our
Mm.
habit. So they can call me anytime now at 3 a.m. in the morning. They can call us, and they get the associated response with the transaction and the savings amount, and also they can express what they have been liked or they have got deprived of. So in initial stage, before we launch this, we have our complaint boxes in all our branches, but it basically gathered dust. All right. Most of the time, the complaint goes to our people, but it is not being transmitted to us, for human reason. But now we can hear them. Now they can freely tell us, now, and it's a very interesting findings we have. I'm sure that if we have some more time, then we can emerge into some more discussion on this. Thank you, Dipti.
Perfect. And again, as I said, extremely insightful. I think what came out very clearly was the need of segmentation, which is very important. And then also this whole thing about being patient, and it's something that you can't expect to change overnight. Across the institutions, I think we've also seen the role that voice can play over text, given literacy levels. Uh, Now, looking at the other side of it, very often what happens is that once an organization starts developing digital channels, its investment in the traditional channels such as your branch, call center, typically goes down because the expectation is that the digital channel will do a good job of serving customers, increase efficiency. Uh, but I think it's happened probably to all of us. At times, these journeys are broken. So they're like complex IVRs even for us. And then when you are dealing with customers who've typically been used to very personalized doorstep service, which is what happens in microfinance. From there, you suddenly go into a very faceless, nameless kind of an interaction. So that can end up actually alienating the customer. I think maybe Dr. Saibal, across institutions you would have seen the evolution, and today most MFIs in India are investing a lot in technology, in digital channels. What's your thought on it? One, I mean, do you see this as a problem? And secondly, what can institutions do? What is the correct path to take here?
See one thing that, in like everything, it has to be need-based, right? And you have to understand the people, their requirement, their capacity, everything. So, in many cases, in the demand supply balance, what is happening, especially in India, that the supply side is more than the demand side, and it has to be really thoughtful. Many institutions are doing a lot of stuff, and at the end of the day, we are not seeing more than 15%, and it is stagnant, 11 to 15%, 11 to 15%. And that's the self-reported data from this our members only. We do have one very unique this your report called Bharat Microfinance report. You can always refer to understand. So now we have done some studies in two geographies, one in Bengal, another one in Tamil Nadu, because these are the high growth states. People are more or less educated, they're oriented. But we are seeing that despite of having your smartphone, they are not using it for repayment. They're using it for YouTube, they're using for chat, they're using for even this your buying of the things like this your Miantra and all those online e-commerce thing, but they are not very comfortable with your uh, repayment for the microfinance or financial transaction.
Yeah.
So then we were seeing that what exactly do we need for this? One of the segments what we were seeing that this appropriate this apparatus nowadays it has increased, but that it is not really for the women. Okay, fine, I have kept it aside because this most of our loans are not really for the women; it's for the family. Even if the small shop, it is run by the family, not really by the women in most of the cases. So look, we have kept it aside. Another one, second thing, what we could understand that the capacity side. These women, this target group, they have to be developed with capacities. And that capacity is not really one day capacity building program. It has to be continued over the period of time because they are not literate in most of the cases. Nowadays, the things are changing. That's what I was telling you. Hard thing, they're not comfortable. Why comfortable? First of all, they don't have money to squander. Even it is 100 rupees, if it goes, then first thing that their mistrust will go like anything, go up like anything, they will never come to this domain. Second thing, they won't be comfortable at any point of time doing this one. Then we have to think of the security. These our colleagues, they have already talked about security, then your language, everything. Where we are lacking, in this microfinance segment is possibly the handholding. Now, if somebody is this your client, if they don't have someone to support them in the time of problem that they're trying to transact. Maybe they have been developed with the capacity building, all these things has happened to them. But they are trying to transact and something has happened. It can happen, it's a technology. Now, if there is no one standing beside them, helping helping them to get out of that glitch, it won't work. So one is your demand and supply. It has to be very need-based. It has to be very patient. And these 3-4 things we have to see. Otherwise, it won't work because then, if we see this macroeconomics, India is still your cash-based economy. You have to, if you want to do transaction also, you have to have money in your bank account. Now, getting into bank is another trouble. Okay, fine. Now we got this DC channels, kiosk everywhere, but do the people believe in kiosk? It has to be taking like a lot of time to believe, to trust those kiosks, because these kiosks are the local level your businessman. They have seen all these local people. They know that what kind of person is that one. If that person doesn't have a good reputation and that he's running the kiosk, it won't work. So that's another. So technically, if you see in means statistics sometimes give you a little bit skewed observation, but still India, if you see the geography versus your bank branches, in every 22 square kilometer there is one bank branch. Now a person, if that person needs to go to that bank branch and deposit the money, he or she needs to forego his 1 day's wage. So the opportunity cost is really not there, proper opportunity cost.
Absolutely.
So this is what we are seeing. But yes, we are also trying to facilitate your tech-based prepayment and technology-based microfinance. We are supporting that one. One of the things we have undertaken in a couple of geographies, but it also didn't give us that much output, is working through your feature phone. So there is something called SIM inlay. So you have to put that SIM on your regular SIM, and this feature phone will be working as your smartphone. But in that case also the problem is, it is also not that easy. It is a little bit complicated that in the third position, your savings, fourth position, deposit, it needs a lot of capacity building. So one of the major things is capacity building and handholding to overcome these challenges of tech-based financial inclusion. But having said so, it is necessary.
Yeah. I think payments is again a whole different ballgame. While a lot has happened, I think there is still a lot of room for improvement. Coming back to overall digital channels, which would include financial transactions, non-financial transactions. A similar question to you, Ashish. On launching these channels, what did you see as response from the customer? Did they find it useful? Were they instead finding it difficult to navigate? Were they losing touch with the institution, or do you think it helped in bringing customer closer? What's your take on that, Ashish?
Sure. So I will talk about one particular use case, and which is, I think, the need of the hour is how can we move to a cashless collection. So there are multiple channels, digital channels. We'll just talk about one channel. If you require, then maybe I can also touch upon other. So currently, Annapurna is the largest biller in loan repayment category as per the NPCI record, and we had been awarded our 67 to 67% collection comes digitally. So the journey from cash to cashless has been quite tough for Annapurna. And few things which are very critical is the question that you asked, the risk of losing the customer. I would say yes, there is a risk when you force thing to the customer that I need only and only through digital payment. I will not accept any cash. If you enforce such kind of thing to the customer, then obviously, yes, there is a huge risk of losing out this customer. Even the survey that we did recently, findings came out that cashless collection customers, cashless repayment customers do prefer at times paying by cash mode. So what we have seen in the journey is which medium should we focus? What is that which is most user friendly for the customer, so that we don't push the customer. Customer should adopt digital payment from their side. So we have tried multiple things, starting from feature phone 123 UPI. We have tried Aadhaar based payment. We have tried QR code. The success that we got was through Bharat Bill Pay system. Once you become a biller in Bharat Bill Pay system and customer can pay us back through their own convenience way, maybe Google Pay, Phone Pay, Amazon Pay. So the adoption increases. So what is important is in terms of the technology, what technology or ease of convenience you are providing to the customer and which is understandable to the customer. Now using Google Pay, they are paying electricity bill, they are paying phone bill, they are doing paying their DTC bill. They are paying maybe education bill, and you are there as a biller. So they just have to go search loan segment, select Annapurna, put their loan ID and pay us. So the convenience is very critical. What we have understood and why we are there at 65 to 67% digital collection is only because we have, but yes, it comes with a cost. The Bharat Bill Pay system is a cost which we are incurring. But having said that, what we have gained is a significant increase on digital collection.
Yeah, thanks. I think you bring about a very important point. One, I think if digital channels succeed, it opens up avenues for customers as well. Right, they can do a lot more rather than only interact with the financial institution. However, I think 2 points I think both you and Akhtar bhai had brought in was one, the process of transition probably takes time, so it's important to support the customer either by hand-holding, as Akhtar bhai had said, and Ashish, you also made a very important point that you should not drop the traditional channel. There's a time for transition where the customer should have that option, and the customer will settle for whatever works and whatever is important. Now, all of us have been talking about repayment and cash. So along with cash, I think we have to talk about the angle of fraud as well. So I think what we have seen quite a lot is that increasingly customers are very wary of online frauds, right? I think we were doing a survey recently, and what we found out is that in most places they have either experienced, it might be a small transaction, but they would have experienced fraud or heard somebody who has experienced firsthand who has experienced a fraud. So how do you address this trust deficit? And when you design channels, both to, maybe Ashish, I'll start with you and then go to Akhtar bhai. How do you create trust markers in a digital channel? You might not be doing financial transactions, still people are wary that some fraudster is trying to get information.
So I think, Dave, you have raised a very valid point. I think if we check some statistics also, reported frauds had been close to 10,000, whereas unreported are, I mean, that is huge in number. Recently, government blocked more than 1.4 lakhs mobile number which were suspicious in terms of transaction, and specifically the segment which we are catering, this is the one which is most vulnerable to these kind of fraud. So one thing is there, when we adopt digital payment or when we move to a digital means, it has to be a hybrid model. So you can't just move to a technology wherein you put your own traditional processes in a backward movement. So technically, it has to be an optimum balance between your technology and touch model. So as in case of Annapurna, we have adopted Bharat Bill Pay system. But having said that, that has not stopped the fraud. The frauds, we have encountered fraud wherein somebody quoting in the name of Annapurna and saying that you have to send this amount as a processing fee, somebody sharing the link, somebody sending a QR code. And there are specific pockets where we have come across these kind of situation. So we have used our CEP platform, customer engagement platform, to manage this. So what we have done is we developed IVR messages, which says that Annapurna loan repayment happens only through Bharat Bill Pay system. Please don't pay money to any of person quoting Annapurna name. Don't click on any anonymous link. So what we have done is we have sent SMS to all our customers in vernacular language. Parallelly, we did an IVR campaign on pockets where there were digital fraud, like in Jharkhand and couple of belts where we have come across the frauds. Every day, 2 times a day on their own language, we triggered this IVR messages to all the customers. And post that, we have seen a significant decrease. So customer education is important. Customers should know that if they have to pay to Annapurna, they can only pay to Bharat Bill Pay System or their field staff. There is no other means. That education to the customer is very critical. So that education, I think technology can bring in that education, like CEP platform or SMS, that has to be in vernacular, local language, short messages, crisp messages, and it has to be hammered. It is not that I trigger a CEP today and I think that everybody must have understood. I need to run this campaign for 15 days, 2 times a day, to ensure that yes, these customers heard this message at least 5 times. Then only my action would work. So you raised a very valid point, and I think not only Annapurna, most of the institutions are now being faced by these kind of frauds. And yes, the only way is using technology. How can I reach? If I use a call center, it will take years for me to reach to 25 lakh borrower. If I use a CP platform, it will just take some minutes for me to reach to entire segment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Akhter, your thoughts on this maybe quickly? We just 7 minutes to go. Yeah.
I think, as Asish said, you need to use awareness, and awareness in their language, in their time, and you need to repeat it. Meaning you have to invest, and you have to invest in both ways. I think it's not only the message, it's also the field force who will going to go and meet, because still we are, I say on Ashish is on hybrid mode. We are on a single mode, but going to be hybrid in course of time. So field force needs to also ask that we have sent you a message. Have you heard it? You know, these both side recall is basically aware the customer to, if he or she misses it first time, then he or she will understand that, okay, next time I'll not disconnect the call, I'll listen to the entire message, because there's a tendency that you tend to disconnect the call, uh, and if you're busy, right? So you also, your technology need to also analyze that which all the calls were disconnected within 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds, meaning then you have to club that customer and send that message in a different time slot, meaning that time slot is not suitable for these customers. So you, in the background, you basically need to analyze the data you are gathering, sitting in your hub, and try and error and try to fit in to customers best time while disseminating these knowledges. And at the same time, you need to utilize, because we are working in a group lending mode, so there is a group mother, right, a center lady. So you need to educate that center lady first, so that the education comes from their horse's mouth, meaning somebody who is basically sitting in their society, you know. So you need to pick up those key leaders of those centers, educate them first, incentivize them that if your group responds 100%, you will get a gift, for an example. So by that, you basically is can accelerate and increase the awareness, and create some protection against the fraud. Fraud cannot be stopped, but the intensity can be reduced.
Perfect. I think again a recurring theme is essentially the fact that you have to keep working towards gaining that trust, and you have to analyze data to figure out what works and what doesn't. That makes a lot of sense. Probably the last question, and then I'll take concluding remarks from you. Just want to understand this also. There is this risk of loan officers at times feeling threatened that the communication is happening directly and they are not a part of it. So maybe Akhtar bhai, have you faced anything like that, and what is an ideal way to for ensuring proper change management so the entire organization is tuned towards the objective?
Uh, that's a very tricky question, because we are facing it now. Yeah, and it seems like they are kind of expressing that the control over the customer has been taken. It is, we are taking it away from them. But see, we are basically benefit selling in some other way. You need to have some incentive for our sales force also. So we are basically giving product promoting messages through our IVR, the voice NLP, right? And asking the customer that please contact your field operatives for further detail. So once they're saying it, then they stop complaining about it. So sitting in the center, you need to understand every single one's pain point. He doesn't want to lose a customer. He doesn't want to lose control over a customer. At the same time, customer wants to be broken free and have that liberty to talk to us freely and openly, right? We need to have the voice. And also, you need to educate the field force in a way that if they can talk to us, uh, you basically service 360 customers a month. So it is impossible for you to remember, write it down, and then fetch it out and then send it to us. It's not possible. So it's better we listen and we guide you. We help you to analyze this. You need to sell your sales force that we are benefit selling out of it. We don't want to penalize you, But at times you need to do penalization, because through these free talks, we are coming across that Salesforce are not handling some of the Salesforce are not handling funds properly. Customer paid, but he or she didn't deposit it, and fixes are going on. So it's a chicken and egg and rat and mouse situation will go on, but the drive should be from the center. Either at times you need to be a little hard that either it is our way or the highway. Hard, hearing a bit tough, but sometimes you need to be tough for something to do better.
Yeah, and being tough is one. I think the other point that you made was also very relevant, of answering what's in it for me, for the loan officer, right? So that's, I think, very important as well. We've heard of a lot of challenges, but let's kind of, move towards a positive story. So the project that we are talking about with Annapurna, we currently have text-based solution, which is either WhatsApp or SMS. And I mean, I think we've reached out through that platform, which was built by Axion along with Annapurna, supported by SCBF. We have reached out to more than 700,000 customers, almost 800,000 customers, and we've got responses from almost 100,000 customers. Around 80 odd thousand customers have responded. So again, the point that, if you keep on filtering, and this has happened over a period of more than 18 months, if you keep on re-looking at the processes, refining it further, you will end up developing something which is useful. What we are also trying to do going forward is use a lot of voice, which came out very clearly. So use voice, use NLP to pick up words, to speak in a language which is closer to their natural dialect, to the customer's natural dialect, and develop upon that. With that, I think we are just on time, and maybe just a quick 10-15 seconds from each of you to hear on what do you think is next for digital communication or digital channels. Maybe I'll go with you, Saibal. What do you think is next? And maybe just about 10-15 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, see, the thing is that we have to go for it, but we have to see what works for our population, what works for the people. So if we keep focus on that one, that this is the need, and accordingly we customize our thing, then it will work. It has to be working. That's for sure. There is no other way. So what we have to also do, that giving the options and going towards specific. So if you go to specific directly, then it may not work. So the options will be there, then there will be specific. So this is another process we should be adopting. So 2-3 things, but at the end of the day, I just want to tell you one example which Basics of India is doing. They have started doing these virtual group meetings as well. So the employee is not going there, but meeting is happening virtually. And they know each other. So these kind of things are going on. And when we want to bring up something, we have to be going through the process of tasting the things. So it is going on. Maybe in 5-7 years, the things will be much more. Then we will also see the age of these clients of microfinance will also be, the older generation will phase out, new generation will come. They will be more tech savvy. So that's a very positive thing, and it has to be done. Today or tomorrow, we have to do that.
Perfect.
But not at the cost of losing touch with the target group.
Absolutely. Well said. Ashish, your take.
15 seconds would be difficult, Dev. I'll take 1 minute. A couple of use case I'll I'll just touch upon a couple of use cases. So we have started sending DPD SMS to the customers, and phenomenal response had been received. So NPA clients SMA bucket 1012, we have sent DPD message in vernacular language to all customers. So we have received positive feedback from the field also. Surprisingly, the field staff were very surprised that customer has paid from their side. So this communication, this digital channel is not only helping our customer, it will also be a watchdog, because now the field staff would know that the organization is directly in touch with the customer. So that is again an advantage that that holds. In March, what we also did it, we started sending WhatsApp messages to all our field staff, how many proposals they have built up, how many sanctions they have done. This remarkably helped in terms of increasing the number. Now my 7,000 field staff know that from the head office, he or she is being monitored. So the digital adoption is something we need to invest as an organization, and we should be ready for the investment. But the outcome, I would say, is huge. The way forward is, what all communication channel can we build? How many types of communication can we do? Whether it's a WhatsApp chatbot, wherein customer can know the account details, developing a customer facing app, wherein customer can pay from their side. They can also see the loan track record. There, it might happen that they have forgotten to pay the EMI, and then they receive a SMS 3 days back that after 3 days your EMI is due. So communication and digital platform will be the game changer. But having said that, there has to be an optimum balance between technology and human touch. There has to be a smooth transition.
Perfect. Akhter bhai, you have
I'll
a
not,
minute. Yeah.
I'll finish it within 15 seconds because of my audience. First, FGD, you need to understand your customer. Second, trial. Third step, fix, because from trial, you will understand that there are some fixes required. Then go for assisted. Then fix again. Then create platform for independence. That's how you should take your digital journey in your organization if you want to transform. And after independence, then fix will come again, because technology is changing. So at the back end, your Chrome and your Google is upgrading. So you need to keep that upgrade on pace and change your codings and fit, so that tomorrow, if any Google update comes, your app does not sit idle and fail to interact. Keep very close eye on that. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And I think we're on time, but uh, a big thanks to all the panelists for sharing their experience and talking to us. And thank you to Aurea, my colleague who's managed this from the background. Thank you so much for helping us, and thank you Azalia for sharing your thoughts and opening the session. It's great talking to you. If you want to know anything more about the project that we have worked on, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to talk in more detail. Thank you again, and have a great day.